Today on Turds Tech Tips, I'm going to show you another top-end must-do on two-stroke motorcycles, and that's measuring your cylinder bore. And I'm going to show you how to do it inexpensively because, we don't all, let's be honest, we don't all have the tools required to do this properly. So I'm going to show you what I do here. So you may be wondering, why on earth do I need to measure my cylinder every time I do a top end? Well, if you aren't already aware, the pistons come in different sizes. This one that I bought for this bike is a B piston, what we call a B piston, A being the stock size, but this one is a 66.35 millimeter diameter, and the A piston for these 250s, or most of them I should say, not all, is a 66.34, and a C would be a 66.36, D would be 66.37, and so forth. But they get D's kind of the end before you upsize quite a bit, and then that requires boring out the cylinder and replating from there, but that's besides the point. The main reason we do this is clearly this thing needs to fit into this hole with the proper amount of clearance, and especially it's for factoring in kind of heat expansion. And this goes back to, again, cast versus forged. They both expand at different rates, and they require slightly different clearance measurements, but that'll be specified in your piston kit that you do buy. They all come with these installation instructions. They'll give you a measurement based on what you bought. This happens to be a Vertex cast. I only typically run cast, and the measurement for this would be different than say a Wiseco forged that I bought for this bike. So it needs to be that exact clearance, not too big that it starts rocking back and forth, slamming away in there, wearing stuff out, or even cracking a skirt, and not too tight that creates way too much friction and you'll wear away the Nicosol plating. Or worst case scenario, say with a forged, it'll literally, these will do it too, it could seize in there. So there's not enough room. This expands too big, and before you know it, it doesn't fit in the hole anymore. It locks solid, right? So plain and simple, you really should measure your bore every time you have this thing apart. So the proper tool to complete this job would be a dial bore gauge, but I don't have one. I'm trying to save my pesos up for a nice one. Most home gamers, you're not going to have one, but what you could have for very cheap are these telescopic gauges. I picked these up at Princess Auto here in Canada, which is kind of like your Harbor Freight in the States. I think this set was like 20 bucks. And yeah, they're not pretty, but they do the jobs. And what these do is they're spring-loaded ends that you stick in the cylinder. You clamp it down with this thimble here that locks it to the size that it measured, and then you go and use either, again, the cheaper option being a caliper. This is a $30 caliper from Canadian Tire, or if you want to be more exact, micrometer. This one I have from my work. I use this at work. It's my own one, but again, these are generally more expensive, especially a Mitutoyo or a Starrett. They're not required, but you can get much more accurate measurements out of a micrometer than you can with a caliper. Honestly, for years, all I've used is this stuff here, and I've been just fine. And if you're ever wondering what that clearance should be, you could either go to your owner's manual for your bike, and then here it is here for my YZ250. So they want a piston to cylinder clearance of 0.045 to 0.050 millimeter, and a limit of 0.1. So once it gets to be 0.1, you either need to buy a bigger piston, or if you're maxed out all the way, the cylinder needs to get replaced or replated. You go by the manufacturer's spec, but it usually agrees with these little info papers that come with every piston kit. This came with this Vertex piston, and they'll say the same thing. So for two-stroke dirt 250cc we got here, here's the piston cylinder clearance from 0.05 to 0.08. So Vertex says you can run this a little bigger, but than what the standard would be, but it's still below the 0.1 millimeter. And they say run a piston for 15 hours max, but oh my god, who the hell does that? That would get expensive. So it'd be kind of hard for me to film and show you this process, so I'm just going to explain it to you. It's pretty straightforward. You'll get the gist of it here. First thing you're going to want to do is get a pen and paper. So we're going to be taking 6 sets of measurements. I've just kind of roughed up a drawing here. This is as we're looking at the cylinder right now. The kind of exhaust port is down here. So my capital A, B, and C are my 3 measurements running perpendicular to the crankshaft, which of course is down here. So these are my capitalized letters are my perpendicular measurements, and then my lowercase letters are the parallel measurements. So those are the ones running parallel to the crankshaft. A being the top of the cylinder, B is the middle, and C is the bottom, and same goes for the other one. I don't need to really explain that. So there's 6 sets of measurements, and what I do for each one, I take 3 measurements in there too. It's just so I kind of try and rule out error. A, for example, here. Now I use my micrometer for this. That's why I've gone down to the 10,000ths of an inch, but you may not have one, and so you might not have that last decimal place on your number, which is absolutely fine. Like for what we're doing here, that's okay. But I just use my micrometer just because it's more exact, and I have one, so why not? I took that measurement at capital A is up here. I took it 3 times. So when you are doing this, what I will say is it's kind of a finesse thing with these telescopic gauges. You want to be dead straight in the bore as best you can, and you don't want to be cockeyed a little bit there, or, you know, twisted a bit. You want to be as straight as you can. So what I like to do once you let these things go is you just kind of rock it up and down a little bit, side to side just a little bit. It'll kind of find a happy place, and you want to be, again, straight as you can, pointed fore and aft before you lock it. And you don't want it tilted at all. You want this pointed straight up, and you lock it there, and then you can remove it, go and measure it. But it's kind of a finesse thing. You get a feel for it. That's why I always do more than one at each spot, just to rule out any sort of kind of error in your hands, where again, a dial bore gauge is kind of the tool for the job here, but these are perfectly acceptable for us home gamers. So long story short, here's all my numbers from my perpendicular, and as you can see, the middle, the B measurement, kind of just below the exhaust port I was measuring, it gets a little bit bigger. I had kind of an anomaly here, the 6139, but again, that's why I take more than one measurement, because I average them all out after. Here's all my physical measurements, and I go down then and average them. If you're not familiar with math, which I know I'm not, but I can sure do this. To get the average, you add all 3 of these A measurements up and divide that by 3, and that gave me 2.6141 inches, or 66.398 millimeters. And B, as you can see, I average a little bigger in the middle, which kind of makes sense, and then C is the base, is a little smaller, which also kind of makes sense. Here's my parallel to the crank ones. These ones, I should note, are, I wouldn't say more critical, but the way the piston rocks in the cylinder fore and aft, you'll typically get a little more wear on the front and the back side of the cylinder, so these guys, than you would these. That's why you can see that these are a little more, they're closer together. And then again, averaging all of this stuff here, all 6 of these final averages from our kind of test, gives me a rough average of the bore diameter of 66.39 millimeters. So that gives me, with a 66.35 piston, a clearance of 0.04 millimeter, which is slightly on the tight side, but I'm not convinced. I feel like this is maybe a little bit smaller than what this actually is, especially when you factor in how much bigger it is in the middle here. So this to me is entirely acceptable. I had a 66.35 in this cylinder before for the last 30 hours, and the thing ran beautifully, pulled hard. So yeah, that's just the quick and dirty on how to do this. Please don't quote me on the numbers for this one, because it may be different for your bike. Make sure you look at your manual, or do some thorough research online, try and find a free manual or something like that to figure out what numbers you should be chasing. This is what it is for my YZ250 here, and yeah, I'm gonna slap this thing together and go pound the snot out of it again. We'll catch you next time.